Imagine you are walking through a high-end department store and your eyes lock onto a beautifully crafted leather jacket with a massive red price tag reading $800. Your brain instantly registers that $800 figure as an extreme luxury expense, making you step back because you know that spending that much money right now is completely irresponsible. But right before you walk away, you notice a bright yellow sticker pasted directly beneath it, showing a dramatic price cut all the way down to just $250. Suddenly, that exact same $250 coat transforms from an expensive impulse buy into an absolute steal that you feel you must purchase before someone else grabs it. What you just experienced is an invisible psychological trap that retail corporations have been using for decades to successfully trick your mind into spending money you never intended to part with. In the world of behavioral economics, this mental glitch is responsible for billions of dollars in unnecessary consumer debt, yet almost nobody ever takes the time to explain how it actually works. You are about to discover the hidden mechanism behind false sales, because once you see the secret blueprint of the system, you will realize you have been manipulated your entire life. I break down one critical psychological concept per video in plain English so that you can understand human behavior. And if you want to master why you do what you do, subscribe now. To truly understand how deeply rigged this game is, we need to uncover a bizarre scientific experiment that proved your logical mind can be hijacked by completely random numbers. Back in 1974, legendary cognitive psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky decided to test exactly how human beings make financial estimations under conditions of heavy real-world uncertainty. They brought a large group of participants into their laboratory and had them spin a massive wheel of fortune that was secretly rigged to stop only on the numbers 10 or 65. The researchers asked each person to look closely at the completely arbitrary number they just spun, and then asked them a seemingly unrelated question about global politics. Finally, the participants were instructed to guess the exact percentage of African nations in the United Nations, and the resulting data shocked the scientific community to its absolute core. The individuals whose wheel stopped on the number 10 guessed an average of just 25%, while the people who landed on 65 guessed an average of 45%. Think about the absolute absurdity of that finding for a moment, because it means a completely meaningless spin of a carnival wheel completely altered their objective mathematical knowledge. Psychologists officially named this phenomenon the anchoring bias, and it occurs because the human brain inherently relies too heavily on the first piece of information it receives. When your mind is forced to evaluate a value, it takes the initial number provided, the anchor, and makes minor adjustments from that starting point instead of looking at the situation objectively. What most people never realize is that this exact cognitive bug is the foundational cornerstone of the entire modern retail pricing industry across the globe today. Retailers know that you do not know the true manufacturing cost of a television, a mattress, or a pair of designer jeans when you walk into their store. Because you lack that baseline information, your brain desperately searches for a reference point, and corporations gladly provide a massive artificial number to serve as your mental anchor. A nonprofit consumer advocacy group called Consumers Checkbook recently conducted a massive, exhaustive study tracking real-world prices at 25 major retail corporations over 33 long weeks. Their extensive data revealed that at 8 massive global brands, more than half of the items tracked were offered at completely fake discounts every single week of the year. The researchers discovered that at certain massive footwear retailers, the products were marketed as being actively on sale a staggering 98% of the total time. This means the expensive original price listed on the tag was completely imaginary, serving zero functional purpose other than to anchor your mind and make the normal price look incredible. If a store sells a mattress for $1,000 all year round, but labels it as regularly $2,000, now 50% off, they have committed zero real price cuts. They have simply manufactured a high anchor in your mind, ensuring that when you part with your $1,000, you feel like a genius shopper instead of a victim. But before I get to the most counterintuitive part of this manipulation, and trust me, this next layer will completely change how you view grocery stores, let us look at a real corporate war. Back in the year 2012, an executive named Ron Johnson was hired as the new chief executive officer of the massive American department store chain JCPenney. Johnson looked at the company's books and realized that JCPenney was running an astonishing 500 distinct sales promotions every single year to clear out their inventory. He believed customers were getting tired of the constant marketing games, so he decided to completely eliminate the fake high anchor prices and replace them with fair and square pricing. He took a shirt that was always artificially priced at $40 and permanently marked down to $14, and he simply put a clean $14 tag on it. He expected the public to praise the store for its absolute honesty and transparency. But what actually happened next remains one of the greatest corporate disasters in retail history. Without that fake $40 anchor tag to look at, consumers no longer felt the emotional rush of getting a deal, and they completely stopped buying items altogether. JCPenney's sales instantly plummeted by a catastrophic 25% in just one single quarter, costing the company nearly $1 billion in pure revenue. This historical failure proved that our brains do not actually want objective honesty, because we are deeply addicted to the psychological illusion of winning a financial battle. Now stay with me, because what I am about to show you in the next 2 minutes is the part where this trick moves past prices and alters your physical behavior. Anchoring does not just dictate how much money you spend, because it can also perfectly dictate the exact volume of physical goods you place inside your shopping cart. A famous marketing study tested this by placing a public advertisement for canned soup in a supermarket with a simple tag reading 10 cents off per can. For the first group of shoppers, the sign had no limits. But for the second group, the store added a small line of text reading, limit of 12 per customer. Under the unlimited sign, shoppers bought an average of 3.5 cans, but when the sign introduced the limit of 12, the average purchase size skyrocketed by 56%. By putting the completely arbitrary number 12 on the grocery shelf, the supermarket dropped a high numerical anchor directly into the subconscious minds of everyday shoppers. Your brain stops asking, do I actually need soup today? And instead starts asking, why is everyone else buying 12 cans? And why am I only taking 2? The full picture snaps into place when you realize that every single multi-buy deal like 3 for $10 is designed to anchor you to a higher quantity than you need. You would have been perfectly happy buying just one single bottle of juice for $3.33. But the high anchor of the number 3 forces you to overspend. The good news is that once you understand the underlying cognitive science of this pattern, you can actively deploy a psychological shield to protect your hard-earned money. Behavioral researchers have found that the single most effective way to defeat an anchor is to intentionally force your mind to generate a competing low anchor. When you see an item marked down from $500 to $200, you must completely ignore both numbers and immediately research the absolute lowest market price for similar items. Another incredibly powerful tactic is to calculate the price of the item relative to your actual hourly wage to see how many hours of labor it truly represents. If you earn $25 an hour, that $250 bargain jacket does not cost $250 because it actually costs 10 hours of your life. Framing purchases through the objective lens of your personal time completely shatters the artificial anchor created by the marketing department of a global apparel brand. So let us pull this entire concept together so you can carry this mental model out into the world and never get blindsided by a false discount again. First, remember that your brain is highly vulnerable to the first number it sees because of the anchoring bias established by Kahneman and Tversky's foundational research. Second, realize that retail corporations use artificial original prices and strict purchase limits solely to anchor your mind to higher costs and higher physical quantities. Third, always remember the historic lesson of JCPenney, which proved that human psychology would rather chase a fake bargain than celebrate an honest, transparent price tag. Finally, break the power of any retail anchor by doing immediate cross-item comparisons and translating every single dollar amount directly into the hours of work required to earn it. Share this video with one person you know who deserves to understand this dark retail pattern, because one single conversation about cognitive biases could permanently change how they protect their money. If you want to continue mastering the complex psychological forces that quietly dictate your money, your choices, and your daily life, make sure to subscribe and click the bell.